Guess who's back? Back again. JB's back. Tell a friend. Here we are. Yeah, we checked out another anticipated summer movie, Dunkirk. So I'll let you start. What did you think?
As you could tell, I was really into it in the theater. I don't know if you could hear my breathing. There was a lot of suspense. I guess I'll just start with the overview there. But yeah, it's a great movie. With all movies like this, it's a great movie, and because it's a great movie, I love it and I hate it because the topic is just so serious, and it's really tough to compartmentalize, really, when a great filmmaker is able to evoke emotion in you when it comes to something that actually happened, and there's people that are like dying on the screen, you know. So it's really intense, and yeah, it really makes you reflect. I mean, it's a great film because I feel like it's more art than it is just a summer blockbuster. So I think it's a great film, and I guess we'll get more into that.
Okay. Here we go.
Uh-oh.
I was actually underwhelmed. I was expecting more in certain areas. I didn't find myself that invested in the characters or the action taking place. For those who are interested in the history of it, like, this is one of the most significant moments in all of the war. And it didn't feel that way. It just...
That's, I think, kind of the point, though. It's kind of, it looks and it feels real. So, I don't know. For me, anyways, that really worked.
Okay.
And I see what you mean by there being certain things that I expected to be in the film that weren't there. I was expecting to see a bit more of the French front line.
Okay.
But that really wasn't in the movie. You see them for about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And then you go to the British, and they stay there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I understand that there are certain things that you would like to see. There are things that I wanted to see too. But to me, it's just a choice of what it is that you want to show on the screen. Really. And he chose to do that. He didn't choose to do other things.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. And I'd be really fine if they don't make a Dunkirk 2. The front line, you know, that would not make me happy. So just leave it like it is.
I was going into it with such high expectations. One of the top directors, in my opinion, in Christopher Nolan.
Mm-hmm.
He has made 2 out of my top 10 movies. So I have really high hopes going in, and it didn't quite meet that. Yeah. It's still a much better movie than what I'm used to seeing. That's for sure. But for the standard I had set for myself in my mind, it might have fell short at points. Okay. But I agree with a lot of what you're saying anyway.
Right. But what points do you think that it fell short? Is it just because you thought it was a bit boring in the sense that there wasn't as much war scene or as many war scenes? You know, like, what were you looking for really, as far as it being exciting?
I wanted, I think, 2 things: more dialogue and more information. Because I wasn't able to figure out...
at the beginning?
Yeah.
So was I.
Yeah.
But that worked. I think there was a point to that, okay? So this is my theory. I don't know if it's true or not, so correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But
let us know in the comments, Chris Nolan, if he's right.
Yeah, please, because we know you're watching this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so go on.
I was confused at the beginning too, but that just kind of added, I think, to the chaotic feel of what war is like. And so it, just because maybe I'm not smart enough to get it, it kind of worked in its favor because it seemed a little bit more chaotic, just like war is. You know, it's kind of messy, as organized as everybody is and tries to be, you know. So that worked. Okay. And there were a lot of, I think, choices that Christopher Nolan made in order to really bring that home. The realism, like I said, there was the Inception, not the Inception shot, the, what's that science fiction one again that he made? The interstellar shot on the side of the plane.
Okay.
Yeah, which was nice to see. And that also adds the feeling of really being there, you know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure it was an actual real plane that he put the camera next to it. It wasn't CGI or anything like that. It was really, really real, and it
No,
really
yeah,
felt like you were in the
everything
sky.
felt pretty authentic.
Yes, and it put me in that pilot seat.
Yeah,
And it didn't look like an action movie, but it looked like, oh my goodness, like he's gonna shoot and kill an actual person, and there's a good chance he might die, you know, and that just kept coming up at me all the time, you know,
okay.
especially those two planes, man. Oh yeah, and let me just mention this too. I got a scar watching this movie. I had so much suspense. I was biting the side of my nail, and then I started bleeding all over the place. That's how suspenseful it was for me.
This guy's a hardened soldier waiting to you.
Oh yeah.
He should have been in World War II.
No. And the way that he used silence. So you criticized the silence, okay?
I do. Yeah.
Combined with the score, which kind of had a horror movie vibe.
Yeah.
For a lot of it, as well as, you know, the feelings of elation when the score would really come in, which again, to me, it really evoked, like, you know, this is war. So there's horror, there's chaos, then at the same time there's bravery and courage. And so the silence, I felt, was used in order to do that, to create the feeling of horror, of being in that moment, of knowing that at any point a bullet can just pop through my head and I'm gone, or a bomb, you know.
Okay.
Like when you know, when the feeling of not anticipation, what's the word that I'm looking for? It's fear, I suppose. But you know, whenever the plane comes by to drop bombs, and then everybody just gets down like that it could be me. There's nothing I can do. Dread is what it was. That's the word I'm looking for. And I find that was really well done.
Okay.
So he combined that with the score very, very well.
Yeah, no, that's actually a good point. I can't argue with it. Like,
why do you? I just wasn't into it. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
no,
maybe
I
you should have
didn't.
had a coffee before the movie. You know.
I actually, there was a point where I felt myself like getting heavy eyelids.
Why can we never agree on anything ever?
No, we agreed on the last one. It just wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Pleasant
Yeah,
agreement.
True. It wasn't a pleasant agreement. Yeah.
I don't know if you had this problem, but I had trouble understanding what little dialogue there was a lot of the time.
There was a couple of times where they yelled something out, and I was like, "What?"
And I didn't know it was possible for Christopher Nolan to make Tom Hardy harder to understand than he did with Bane in the Batman movie, but
he did have a mask like.
Yeah, exactly. He's masked again, and he's really hard to understand.
No one doesn't like his face.
Yeah,
he knows he's a box office draw, but he doesn't like to show him on screen. He resents it.
I don't know what it is, but it wasn't too long. It was a very well paced movie.
Except you were falling asleep in it, but I thought it was a well-paced movie.
Yeah, but not
there's the suspense. Oh.
Yeah, see, I didn't get any of that suspense on my end, but yeah, I don't know. So the thing to me with Nolan, I find him so like avant-garde, not only in his filmmaking style, but also in his storytelling, just the concepts he comes up with. And I feel like this, where Nolan is usually ahead of his time, I find this one is a few years too late for it to be cinematically relevant in a big way.
Well, yeah, he took shots directly from his other film and put it in this one. So I guess in that sense you can say it's not avant-garde. It's just his style.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't watch enough movies to really be able to respond to that, I guess.
Okay. Well, I was expecting probably my favorite movie of the summer. Wasn't quite there, but still good. And you would say great.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
So, how about we Marvel the Matrix this thing?
Oh, and that's the first time for me.
It is your first Marvel to Matrix.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you guys know what I think of Marvel. And you know what I think of the Matrix. So, scale of Marvel and Matrix, where does this land?
I guess it's tough to say, because the only thing that kept coming into my mind, but I only saw this movie when I was like 13 or 14, was Saving Private Ryan.
Really? Okay.
Not like they're very, very different movies.
Yeah, they are.
Do something very, very different.
They are.
But in the sense that they're both to be looked at as works of art instead of as just a movie. For that reason alone, I'll say that I'm going to give this to Saving Private Ryan. It's very different from Saving Private Ryan, so don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But they're both, I think, very good takes on what it's like to be in a war in particular situations.
Yeah, see, to me, Saving Private Ryan's maybe my favorite ever war movie. And I don't think it lives up to that. I don't even think it would live up to a more recent great war movie, which was Hacksaw Ridge.
Never saw it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for me personally, it's not at that level. But I will give it a Full Metal Jacket. So, gotta go back in time, check that one out if you haven't. I was in my early 40s when that one came out in 1987 or whatever it is.
That one's for you, Rami.
Yeah, a lot of people think that's a great movie. I thought it was good. It's just, yeah, it's good. Thanks for watching. Like the video, the more likes, the more people are gonna see it. Share the video, subscribe. Thanks for doing this again.
My pleasure.
See you soon.